fuck the internet.
Dude, fuck the internet.
Hello and welcome to Tipsy Talk with Anna Akana. Anna is having a year of sobriety. How's that going?
It's really hard. I started early because I was like, I don't feel like starting on January 1st.
But I was just saying this the other day. You will finish just before Christmas next year so you can like fully let loose. Because if you finished on New Year,
that would suck. So Hazel Hayes is directing a music video for one of my songs.
Wait, what?
It was all one long take. So we had a whole day of rehearsals and then a whole day of takes. And then it was the very last one that we were like,
which is good, because we didn't have time for more of them.
no, we didn't. We did not. It was like, oh, we have to go now.
There's so many moving parts, and there's so many ways in which we could fuck up.
Yeah, it's like if one element is wrong, the entire take is ruined. So if the focus isn't working, or if the lighting doesn't go on time, or if one person fucks up and crosses the screen, as she did in one take.
So Kieran's filming Anna. He's following her through the whole thing. And then on one of the takes, I'm watching and walking, and I see someone cross frame in the background. I'm like, who is this asshole? I was like, oh, it's me.
It's all good. It came out beautifully. We reviewed it today, and it looks awesome.
Thank you. I'm so thankful and grateful that you let me do that. Because music is so personal to you, and this song in particular is like, it feels very personal. It feels like it really comes from your heart, like Human did with Dodie. So for someone to like hand that over and be like, here's my baby, it's very different to directing my own stuff.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like it's really difficult for me to direct other people's stuff because it's just like, I don't want to mess it up. It's important to you.
How's this year been for you?
This year's been very, very, very hard. So
Okay.
last year was the worst depression of my life. This occurred to me last Christmas. Like, I was like, oh, I've never had my heart broken before.
What?
Until last year. Because I've been in relationships like back to back since I was 15. But they were always like, okay, this isn't working, and we both are aware of it, and we try, and it doesn't work. And this is the first time I've had to deal with someone just abruptly ending something with me without even like a warning or trying to work it out, and me being totally invested because, you know, the day before they told me they want to have kids with me or whatever.
They do that.
Yeah. I was like, this is why there's so many songs about it. This is why there's so many movies about it. This is how people feel. I was like, oh my God. Like, I thought I understood heartbreak, and I didn't. This is awful. I was like, oh yeah, no, I understand those feelings. And then you're like, no, I didn't. It hurt. Cut it out. Yeah. Oh, but I've also grown a lot, and I've never been single for this long, which is like kind of cool.
I saw you in January.
Yes.
You're a different person now.
Really?
You came to meet me for dinner, and we'd never even met.
Oh yeah.
We'd never met, and the two of us had been through breakups, and we just met and just divulged all of it to each other, and we were both like just little birds, and we were so fragile and broken, and yeah, you seem so different.
Yeah, I think it was hard too, because that was that stage, you know, when you're in that stage, you're like, I just have to talk about it. I just need people to talk to me about it. So I feel like I ambushed you and Dodie at that dinner.
I feel so honored. Like, I feel so privileged when someone shares that stuff with me. Like, it's so deep and it's so personal. And then, like, to leave and get a text being like, I feel better for that. Like, it's nice to help. I don't know. It does make you feel better to be able to help other people. Particularly, like, when you've had your own shit. I guess when you can impart some tiny nugget of wisdom.
Yes.
Even if it's just go home and put a face mask on. Like, whatever it is.
Yeah. Everyone who, like, would listen to it and give me, like, their advice of being on the other side of it, I was like, okay. It just takes time and a lot of talking.
Sometimes you've mentally checked out. And so when it actually happens, it doesn't hit you as hard.
Yeah.
But those sudden ones, I mean, it's like a death. It just happens, and someone you were the most close to they're just gone. And you don't get to hold a funeral or have a wake or like cry with all your loved ones and talk about it in a really open setting. You're supposed to just sort of get up and soldier on like nothing's happened, but it's not that dissimilar.
And it's been especially hard because I've never dated a real artist before, like someone who does sort of the same thing I do. And with music in particular, to have to hear things a year later and be like, oh, I have to relive all of this. I don't like this at all.
The idea that two people who are such successful, like widely known artists would have a relationship. And then, of course, you're going to use that experience in your writing. But then the other person has to see that.
I can't even imagine what Pete Davidson is going through. I think I mentioned this to you yesterday. But, like, to have the entire world tell you, like, to be invested in your previous relationship and tell you to go kill yourself and have to hear songs with your name in it specifically, like, even if it is, like, a song that's wishing you the best. Like, that can't be easy to hear.
No. I think the first time I tweeted or said anything about it was when he went on SNL and was just like, look, I wish her the best.
Yeah.
Because I was just like, this is how you do breakups with grace. Obviously, I had a breakup last year as well with someone who does what I do.
Yeah.
And is in my friend group. I made the mistake one time of like looking at what people were saying about it. I know, I don't know how I did it. It was devastating to see, like, just people speculating on just something that's so raw and real and painful and fresh for you in a really casual, cavalier way. Well, like, she was right, he was right, whatever. There was a part of me that was really hurt by it, and there was another part at the exact same time going, who the fuck has time for this?
Yeah.
Who sat at home, like, really investing that much effort, like, going through our Twitter, seeing when we followed each other back, and like, oh my god, get a life! Like, really? That's all you had to do today? I'm jealous. For that reason, since then, I just keep that side of my life offline, just completely.
It's hard.
Yeah.
I don't have that kind of... I do now, but I didn't before. And now I'm like, okay, I'm torturing myself. Gotta stop. Gotta, like, just cut it all the fuck out. I mean, I've read every breakup article that there is. Essentially, like the first 4 pages, but they're always like, turn off your social media. Get off it completely. You're like, I can't. That's part of my job. I had people sending me his recent music videos and being like, this girl looks like you, and the top comments being like, I bet you this is Anna Akana. I had family, even after his last song, reach out and be like, are you okay? I just heard his most recent song. And at that point I'm like, well, of course now I have to fucking listen to whatever this is.
Yeah,
you know?
That's the worst one, when they tell you. They'll call you and be like, have you seen what this person's saying about you? You're like, no, because I don't need that shit in my life.
I'm trying to
I'm
move
gonna
on.
look now, obviously.
Yeah.
I've been much more public, I would say, about mental health stuff.
Yeah.
I've started like a new type of therapy this year. I was diagnosed with complex PTSD, and it's just been such a fucking journey. This hat is so hot.
Yeah. You can take it off. We are done being festive.
You gotta commit. If you're gonna be festive, Anna, you gotta commit to it.
Alright.
Look how silly.
Matches your hair.
It's kind of was it just the breakup that made this year harder? I don't mean to like delve into it.
No. It's not just that. It was also like my depression has been really bad. I had really bad anxiety. And it's also, I just like really pushed myself this year to grow in ways that I've never had to. I've been sort of like complacent and more productive oriented. And so this year has been a lot more about spirituality and balance and really working on changing habits that I want to change. And so that work has been very hard. You know, the kind of shit where it's like every time you look in a mirror you say I love you, and you're like, okay, fine, like fuck, I'll do it. I got like a life coach and a dating coach this year because I wanted to learn about.
Did you?
Yeah, I'm always bitching that like, oh, everyone I choose is like a commitment phobe or emotionally unavailable, and my dating coach was like, that means you're afraid of commitment. You're choosing someone who doesn't want commitment because you also don't want that, but you don't want to be to blame. And I was like, no, I'm ready to be a wife and mother, and I'm going to be really good at it. And she was like, no, you have intimacy fears, and like laid out exactly what my patterns were.
We've had very similar years.
Yeah.
I started it in a bad place. I tried to kind of plow through, but I wasn't really dealing with it. And then halfway through, I was very much forced to face it. Yeah, it's that shit about just like really growing.
Yeah.
And I say it like that because like it hurts. Growth.
It's hard.
Healing hurts. In the same way as like going to the gym hurts. You're lying there crunching, going, I don't want to do this anymore. And afterwards your muscles are kind of sore and you're feeling that burn from all that work that you did. But then, you know, you start to see the results and you start to see tiny ways you used to behave that you're starting to change now. Those little moments are so worth it when you look at yourself doing something and you go, oh, that was a really healthy choice I just made.
Yeah.
That was nice.
And I think the shift that's been good for me is like, how would you treat someone if they were your person? And so now I tell myself all those things. Like, oh, you're really hungry. You've been working for so long. Take a break. Go get some food. And I'm like, no, but I'm like in the zone. It's like, no, go take a break. You're useless if you're going to be hungry or if you're going to be tired or if I've committed to a party or a social event. But I'm so exhausted that I'm like, you know, if this were my person, I would tell them stay in. It's fine. Yeah. Like, there'll always be another party.
When you see it that way, you separate yourself from it and you're like, oh, shit, yeah. Like, sometimes my brain just...
It's so mean.
It's so mean. Like, you would never say that to someone.
Never.
Imagine sitting your friend down and just being like, you're terrible at your job. You're a worthless piece of shit. You should just stay in bed today and not even bother, because who cares?
You
They
would
won't even notice.
excommunicate that person immediately.
You never hang out with that person.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah, it's so funny.
So many people we know go through that same exact thing.
Yeah.
It's just like Tessa was like telling me like I always feel like all of my friends secretly hate me, and I was like, me too. I feel like nobody likes me and they're just tolerating me. And she's like, no, I think you're lovely, and I was like, I think you're lovely.
You.
Oh,
sorry. It's just because you're famous and I just want the views and stuff. You're a one-woman empire now. The shit I see you do is just insane. No, yeah, you're so welcome. Like, you did that. Stuff you're starring in, there's stuff you're directing. That, oh my god, that short that you produced for Buffer.
Oh,
the
thank you.
stop animation was just heart-wrenching and beautiful. And you wrote a book.
I did.
You're
writing a book.
I'm writing a book. Thanks for plugging. I'm writing a book. If you didn't know, I'm writing a book. Link in the description to pre-order now. I was really nervous to tell the world about this. I think there's like there kind of is a weird stigma now about YouTubers writing books. I really, really just didn't want it to feel like, of course she is. Because now she's got an audience, so flog them a book.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't like that at all. I wrote this short story about a breakup, and then people were like, and then what? And so I just kind of kept doing it, and then it came together, and I was like, oh, it's a book. It's a collection of these stories, actually.
With fiction, it's great because you can take everything that happened and sort of streamline it. Whereas if you have to relay something that actually happened, you're like, I have to make sure this makes sense because life is so random and dumb.
That's the thing. Sometimes, like, you tell someone a story, and it's really interesting in a pub to tell them over a pint, but you write it down, and you're like,
this sucks.
This isn't a good story. Yeah. There's no 3-act structure. The plot's a mess. I don't know what this character wants. I have some training in that, like not much, but I took classes at the Irish Writers Centre for a couple of years under a teacher called Greg Baxter, who was amazing. We mostly studied short stories and personal essays. The personal essays were all truth, but like, how do you tell that in an interesting way, and how is it interesting thematically as well? With the book, I really want like each chapter to be its own kind of self-contained story. It goes in reverse, so it's like a love story in reverse, going from the breakup back to when they met.
Yeah.
You've only read the first chapter when they broke up.
No, I think I read 2.
Oh, did you read 2?
Yeah, I read 2.
Okay.
I liked them. I want more.
I decided to crowdfund it and go with this publisher called Unbound. They're really cool. People have just been so supportive. I've just got so many tweets and so many comments and so many lovely remarks from people that are like, I like your films, and I like what you did with Dodie's music video, and I like other things you do, and I'm sure you can handle this as well. And that's like really heartening. Aww. It makes me feel a lot less alone, because it's like, it's a big daunting. I mean, you've done it. What was it like for you?
Writing a book was the hardest thing I've ever done.
Great, cool.
Yeah, it was also because I had to do nonfiction.
Right.
And I'd already told, I feel like, every story I had to tell on YouTube. And also, I was 26 when I wrote it. So part of me was like, why am I a 26-year-old telling, my own life story?
I know,
like,
isn't that crazy?
Yourself.
You're going to get to 60 and be like, oh, child.
I know. I think it's like a good process for growth, and it makes you an infinitely better writer in every medium to have written a book. But it's also hard work.
In particular, I'm sure, like, writing about your sister must have been... I mean, I can't even imagine. Like, me writing about heartbreak and stuff probably it doesn't even come close. But you've got to dig deep. You've got to dig into that.
Things, Yeah. Like, I think the feelings of mourning and loss and all that are pretty much the same.
It's hard to write about, though, and it must have been hard to, like, sit by yourself and go.
Oh God, yeah.
Go in there.
Like, here we go again.
It's no wonder then we do comedy.
I know.
It's no wonder then we're like, just gotta make a silly video.
Yeah. I just need something to make me laugh now.
I am glad that you're in a better place at the end of the year.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you. I think good job, us.
Yes.
Good job, team.
We were broken when we met, and now we're whole.
Wow. I'm like 75%. But it's been so lovely to have you, and it's been such an honor to direct your video, and I can't wait to see it and share it with the world.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here on my sofa with me.
Thank you for letting me stay here.
You're so welcome. Happy Christmas, everybody.
Happy Christmas.
That has been Tipsy Talk with Anna Akana.
Let's go order pizza.
Oh, let's order pizza.
Yay.
Yeah.